Welcome to Fight Live Boxing, live from the weigh-in here at the O2. There's about 2,000 people behind me. I'm with Carl Froch on the floor here. Oleksandr Usyk and AJ already on the stage. Michael Buffer is running through the details, Carl. Carl, it's an early shout before they announce the weight. How does Usyk look to you?
Well, he looks in fantastic shape. He's a consummate professional. For me, he always looks good. I don't know if he looks any bigger or any smaller, to be honest. We'll find out.
Well, he's 221. That makes him 15'11". That's his heaviest yet. 15'7" was his heaviest against Usyk. But that's 4 pounds. It's not great. Anthony Joshua coming on the scales now, Carl. Let's have a listen.
240 pounds in the
And AJ coming in at 240 pounds, which I make 17 stone 2, which I think is the exact weight he was in his last fight against Pulev, and also the weight he was when he beat Joseph Parker a couple of years ago. Optimum weight, that seems to be for AJ, Carl.
It does, and that's good news for Team AJ, because that's his, as you said, his optimum weight. That's the weight we will expect him to perform at his best. We've seen it time and time again. Joseph Parker's last fight against Kubrat Pulev, he was at his best weight, around the 17 stone mark, so I'm happy with that.
And there was lots of speculation and lots of thoughts that he was going to come in light, really light. That's not the case. That was perfect. Just to paint the picture here, if you had Eddie Hearns between the two fighters. AJ's topless with his hands up. Buffer is talking about the title. Usyk's there with a smirk round his face. AJ's looking up at the heavens. They're now facing each other. Once again, it's just Eddie Hearn, the promoter, slightly behind them. They're looking, they're calm. Nearly 3 inches height difference between the two of them. Hard to tell, Carl, but there's no flinching going on there. It's all respect, it's all business.
I think you're right, a lot of respect there on the stage. AJ looking, serious, Usyk looking serious. I think he's cracked a little smile there. They shake hands.
Shake hands, pat each other on the shoulder and smile.
Well, this is business. They both know, they're both in a great position. I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like a mismatch, does it, size-wise?
No, absolutely. It's a good point, Carl. It does not look like a mismatch size-wise. The two of them, they're sure he's a little bit taller, AJ, but their dimensions across the chest, their arms. You saw the two of them when they leaned out like that. And did you see that cheeky little smile from Usyk when he pointed at AJ as if to say, whoa, look at his body.
Well, we know he's a character. As much as he smiles or whatever he says or does now, you know that his preparation would have been spot on. And I'm expecting him to put in a career best performance.
Let's have a little listen to AJ.
Thank you guys for coming out. Phenomenal turnout. I was here on Wednesday sparring. It hit home. This is one of the places where I started off fighting a lot. Well, I won the world title actually. So I know you guys are the true loyal supporters that are coming out today. And I always say I don't take this position for granted. I promise you, I'll pay you back with committing myself hours and hours and hours in the gym. And what do we want on Saturday? We will deliver. Shout out to Finchley Boxing Club, shout out to GB Boxing, shout out to all the UK fans, Ukrainian fans, Nigeria, everyone that's come out to have a good time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, yeah?
AJ there just staking his claim as the People's Champion, thanking Finchley ABC, where he started all those years ago when he was in trouble, when he first went to Finchley, okay, he'd been recently in trouble, it turned his life around. Then the GB squad, which turned his life around further. And then the fans, starting at the bottom, working his way up. This is where he won the world title. You hear that now? And Usyk's come back on the stage. A bit of pantomime booing. I think we saw a little bit of Usyk there. That was a bit of Usyk. He was backstage. He was no doubt walking away. And he could hear AJ. He's probably run back. He wasn't smiling then. That was a different look on Usyk's face then, Carl.
Yeah, well, he climbed up the steps to the side. I thought, what is he doing? And he took sort of centre stage, waved at the crowd. He didn't really get booed that badly, but obviously people are here for AJ. But I think the real boxing fans, the purists, realise what a tough task AJ has tomorrow night.
Let's just reiterate those weights, Carl. Usyk came in at a career heaviest, 15 stone 11, just 4 pounds above his previous average, which was against Derek Del Boy Chisora. And AJ came in at what I would consider his optimum weight. Certainly the third time in a world title fight he's come in at that weight. That is, I mean, you mentioned it earlier on, his optimum weight. That's clearly his optimum weight. So neither of those two weights cause you to even I don't want to put words in your mouth, but those two weights, neither of those two weights are putting any ideas in your head, any new ideas in your head, are they?
No, I was expecting Usyk to come in slightly heavier, so, I mean, that makes sense, but not heavy to the point where you think, hang on a minute, it's going to be sluggish here, it's going to slow him down, he's going to be struggling, because obviously his movement and his speed of hand and foot is going to be a massive advantage for him. He doesn't want to lose that, so he's done a good thing there, coming in a bit heavy. He needs to be heavy, he needs to be a bit stronger, he needs to be punching a bit more. If AJ starts leaning on him, he's got to be able to lean back or at least stay with him in the clinches up close. And AJ, not being too heavy, means he's not going to gas out too early, which we've seen in the past. We've seen him blowing out of all quarters in round 8, 9 and 10.
And taking breaks in rounds.
Exactly, and he can't do that against somebody like Usyk, who's going to be consistent with his punching repertoire. He's going to be busy, he's going to be body and head, he's light on his feet, so he throws the jab and he comes back out and he comes back with a backhand, he goes off to the side and he comes back in with a second phase attack. Amateurish, but we know he's a top professional.
It works.
You know, it works fantastically, and AJ does struggle a little bit when he's on the end of the boxing. We know he's an Olympic champion and you have to be able to box when you get there, but he's not a natural boxing talent, he just isn't.
Yeah. And it seems to me, Carl, there's two camps here. Well, assuming AJ wins, the two camps on how AJ wins. The first one is he goes out strong, he forces himself on Usyk and he gets to him maybe by 6 or 7. The other one is that he boxes a little bit more sensible and he wins either late in the fight or on point. And it just seems to me that all we've talked about in the last 10 days on 5 Live is the way AJ wins. So we've talked to Del Chisora and he's told us how AJ will knock him out. We spoke to Tony Bellew and he said the same thing. We spoke to various other people in the boxing business, they've all said the same thing. Let me ask you a simple question. Let's turn it on its head. How does Usyk win? He's giving away just over a stone, not the end of the world, just over a stone and a bit. We know he's giving away a little bit of height and a little bit of reach, but it's not massive. You know, it's not like a tiny heavyweight going in with a giant. He's not giving away 6 and 7 inches. You must have had a 2 or 3 inch height advantage once or twice in your career, and you know you're a few stone lighter. How does Usyk win in front of 70,000 people on Saturday night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Yeah, first of all, let's not underestimate the advantage of height and reach. You know, it's a weight-governed sport, but these heavyweights can come in at whatever weight they want. But when you're taller and you've got a longer reach, I've got quite long arms. I've got a big wingspan, if you like.
Yeah.
And I always be able to hit my opponent in the face with a jab, and his jab would always fall short 90% of the time. And I thought that was a massive advantage for me, to be that little bit taller than most people I boxed. And I did struggle a little bit more against the taller fighters. Even if there wasn't that good quality fighters, I'd struggle against the taller
guys
ones.
that were your height or maybe half an inch taller.
Exactly, yeah. I'd think, like, he's hitting me with a jab here, and I didn't see it coming, and he's counter-punched me with that right hand or that left cross if he's a southpaw. So, you know, Usyk, really, he's not going to try and reinvent the wheel. He's a very technically skilled fighter. He's brilliant. He's good at combination punches. He's good on his feet. He's light on his feet. And his reflexes, his hand-eye coordination is amazing. It's phenomenal. That's why he juggles with 4 and 5 balls and he plays tricks and he dresses like the Joker at the weigh-in, because he plays that role that he is. So I expect Usyk to just box and move and be technical. He's going to be stupid if he takes on Anthony Joshua, the bigger, stronger man. But don't be surprised if he gets in close and gets his head on his chest and uses the movement in circles and makes it messy for AJ in there at times, because he's that good. He's a clever fighter. This is by far the best fighter, in my opinion, that
Technically, without a doubt.
faced.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting you say that about when they're in close, because there was no amount of weight that Usyk could gain that would give him parity, 50-50 if they were in close. But there's enough weight and he's got enough skills that should give him the ability to not just get tied up. Because also, if AJ's tying him up, Carl, isn't AJ tiring himself out if he's having to constantly grip?
Depends how clever he is with the way he ties him up. When I boxed Andre Ward, he tied me up and he sort of moved me around, and I was tired and he wasn't, because he's clever at what he does. He was a high school wrestling champion. We're talking about another fight tonight.
And did you realise that against Ward? Did you realise you were being conned in some ways?
Hang on a minute, I can't seem to hit him when he's holding, I can't seem to manoeuvre, I can't push him back. He was slipping low, holding, twisting me, getting off the centre, and I was missing and falling short, and I was blowing out of all quarters. You know, I'm being polite here. I was absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's what Usyk could do to AJ if AJ's not careful.
Well, that's what Tony Bellew warned us about when we were talking on 5 Live last night. He said he makes you tired without you doing anything. He makes you mentally tired. You know, that's what Bellew said.
Bellew had a great start in that fight.
Bellew
6-7
boxed like a
rounds, he was
dream.
brilliant. But Bellew was boxing out of his skin. putting every
Pedal
energy
full
into
to the
every
floor.
Listen, he was flat out in the red, racing car in the red for 6-7 rounds, and I think Usyk knew it because Usyk started every round with a smile.
Yeah, every
and
round.
He was thinking, you're tiring, I'll get you in a minute, and he got him.
But and also the interesting thing is, if you don't mind me saying so, is that Bellew and Derek Chisora, both of whom have praised Usyk for his skills and his attention to detail and his ability to be out of the way and become an invisible phantom. Both of them praised him, but both of those two guys absolutely insist that AJ will get to him and knock him out. There's no doubt in their mind. I find that a little bit odd because what if Usyk can replicate half of what he did against Bellew and half of what he did in the last 6 or 7 rounds against Del Boy? And what if AJ hasn't put, as Eddie said earlier this week, put a dent in him by round 6 or 7? That's when we have an interesting fight.
Nate will be in trouble. Let's not forget, when you ask people their opinion and what their prediction's going to be, they're also, they're going to be honest, and they're friends of AJ. Bellew absolutely loves AJ. They're friends, and Chisora and Bellew are good friends. So when they're giving their opinion, they've got one mind on a minute. I want AJ to win. I want AJ to do this. So they're going to say it, because if you say it enough, you start believing it.
Yeah, of course.
So what
it becomes
they're
true.
Exactly, but what they're saying isn't necessarily what they believe. You just got to think about that as well.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I've sat down with Derek Chisora earlier this week in a yoga studio in Hampstead, part of the great week Jack and the producer and I have had this week wandering around. You're a late comer to the party, son. You should have been here on Monday. We've had a great week floating around. So when I sat down with Derek, as much as he was saying, he was praising Usyk, and he'd go off, he'd drift off, and he'd talk about how he caught him with a shot and how he hurt him, I think, at the end of the 5th round, and Derek didn't know where he was. And then hearing Bellew last night on the radio, as much as he kept saying, he kept trying to tell, it was almost like he was trying to convince himself AJ will have the power to knock him out. So I agree with you. I think that both of those guys, Tony Bellew and Derek Del Boy Chisora, as much as they're confident that AJ will do it, I think there's a tiny asterisk attached to it. And I think in that asterisk is providing Usyk doesn't find his range, doesn't find his feet, and doesn't find his rhythm. And providing AJ fights, I'm going to throw it out there, a smart fight, Carl.
Exactly, totally agree. I don't think they want to tempt fate either. They want AJ to win, as we all do. This is the British guy that's doing amazing things. He's been the front runner in bringing boxing back to the big stage. Obviously, following on from my win at Wembley.
Thank you.
I showed it could be done at Wembley Stadium. Everybody knows that anyway. I didn't need to chuck it in there.
I was going to throw it in anyway.
First never follows. We know that. But AJ now, everybody wants to win. He's the people's champion. He's a lovable guy. We all love him. We do. It's hard not to.
You heard that little speech there. How could you not warm
and
to that?
he doesn't need to do that. He does that because he wants to. He's genuinely a proper nice guy. For anyone who's not met him, I'm sure everybody has now. But he's a proper guy. We all want him to win. But Usyk is a serious, and when I say serious, I can't say any more serious, operator. He's brilliant.
And of course, that glorious night with you and George Groves, it was awkward the other day. I was with George Groves at York Hall, and of course, we're talking about outdoor fights. And I like George. He's a friend of mine. Just like, I like you. I consider you an old friend. But, I haven't asked George about that fight and asked him about his experiences. And of course, the end experience wasn't very nice. The start of it was nice, walking out in front of 80,000 people. It just didn't end well. Now, I also spoke this week to Dillian Whyte. And Dillian Whyte had a theory. He said that, in his opinion, AJ can overthink things. So that, therefore, he might be going into this fight thinking, I need to conserve some of my energy. I need to not offload too much too early.
It happens.
So is that a danger that he can overthink?
It can be. I've done it myself. When you're thinking about what your tactics should be, whether you want to go on your
rather
front
than
foot
just fighting,
rather than just letting the subconscious take over and the natural ability just do what it does, which always happens, by the way, after round 5 or 6, when you've been punched in the face a few times, maybe wobbled, maybe you've took a body shot that's took your breath away, you're starting to feel tired. When you're in close quarters and you're letting punches go, you're not thinking about whether you're going to throw a left hook or an uppercut or a right hand. You're just throwing shots when you see the openings because you're professional at what you do and it comes naturally. So at some stage, these two are going to come together.
Yeah.
And it could be a dogfight. It really could. And that's what I want as a boxing fan.
Yeah, of course.
But as an AJ fan and wanting AJ to do the business, I want him to keep his cool and keep his composure.
Early on.
But well, you say early on. But if he does that early on for too long and he's too far behind on the scorecards, he's then got a mountain to climb. That's the danger.
And that's my real fear, is that if he fights not necessarily a cautious fight, I want to be careful what I say. If he fights a fight where he's not gung-ho, where he's trying to put a dent in Usyk, don't worry about that, but he's maybe not as busy as he should be, then we have a tricky situation as we go past the rounds, 3-4 rounds. Remember, one judge is American, one judge from Ukraine, and one judge from Britain, and and the referee is British. Now, we don't know much about the Ukrainian judge. Okay, but I'll let you in a secret. The American judge, he was the guy that had Vladimir Klitschko in front against AJ at Wembley. He was that guy. So,
and you know what? You have to look at stuff like this and you have to point out because it makes a difference. I've been involved in fights where I've won quite widely on 2 scorecards, and you look at the 3rd scorecard and you say, hang on a minute, it's got me as a draw against Glencoff Johnson.
How?
And I'm thinking, how's that a draw? I know it was close, but come on, I won that by at least 3 or 4 rounds, and it's happened 5 or 6 times in my career. When I boxed Kessler, Roger Tillerman, you probably know the name, and I don't think
the mad Belgian or whatever he was, the crazy Belgian.
And the scorecards can be really wild, and that can be a danger, but it's something that the fighters can't really think about. They've got to get in there and just execute their game plan. And AJ's game plan for me shouldn't be to stand off for too long and try and outbox and try and be too clever. It should be to impose his size and strength and height and reach, and say to Usyk, listen, from the first bell, I'm here to win this fight. You're in my ring now, you're in my territory. Have a bit of that. And I'm shaking my right hand at the minute and clenching it. Get that down your throat, because that's how my mindset is.
So you've told us how he does it. How's he going to win? Give me a prediction.
You know what? I think that Anthony Joshua has to impose his size and strength, and by doing that, to do that, what he's going to have to do is take the centre of the ring. Stand in the centre of the ring, like I did in my rematch against Groves. Look at the first fight, look at the second fight.
Yeah.
Second fight, I stood in the middle of the ring.
Fighter.
And what that means is, you stand in the middle of the ring saying, you've got to come to me to try and win this fight. You've got to try and come and take these belts off me. And as you come, I'm going to hit you hard and often. Every time you come, I'm going to have you circling around me. So AJ needs to stamp his authority in the centre of that ring and manoeuvre Usyk around the ring. Don't be manoeuvred, don't be pushed around, don't be out thought in there. And on top of that, he needs to be forward momentum. He has to take charge. Double jab right hand to the shoulder if he can't hit the head. Yeah. Double jab right hand down to the body. When he's in close, 2 body shots.
Trying to slow him down.
2 body shots, lean on him.
Use that weight.
Drain him. And he has to do it from the start. If he gets into a chess match from round 1, the danger is he slips too far behind on the scorecards, which we talked about earlier. Then he's got a mountain to climb, starts forcing it and rushing it, and Usyk will love that because he'll see him coming.
So prediction, and straight prediction, a one-line prediction.
Listen, you've seen that. You've heard what could happen and what might happen, but I'm telling you, and I think Anthony Joshua will be too strong. He's got Rob McCracken in his corner, and he'll be giving him instructions, and the instructions will be to go out there and hit him hard, and let him know who the boss is. And if he does that, he'll win by stoppage.
Carlos, and there's a chorus of people here, but I'm going to ask you one more question. Eddie Hearn's walking down behind us. He can take the applause from this chorus here. Let me ask you this. It's quite simple. What's it like in front of 80,000 people? You've been lining someone up for a few rounds. You've had a lot of months of aggravation. You weren't sure if you were going to retire. You weren't sure if you were going to fight. Some of us thought you might have been forced into the rematch, your last fight. And suddenly, that right hand explodes. Try and give me a feeling, give me a sense of what that must be like in front of 80,000 people.
I'll tell you what, Steve, there's so many emotions to go through, because there's a sense of relief that it's all over because the build-up was so big. Then there's a sense of elation of the win on such a massive occasion. The magnitude of the event, the first stadium fight post-war, massive, 80,000. We keep banging on about it, but why not? Let's beat the drum some more.
You have to.
It was a big crowd. And, when George Groves hit that floor with his leg awkwardly bent behind his ear hole, and he was unconscious, taking a little nap, taking a little sleep in front of everybody here at Wembley Stadium, I was thinking to myself, you know what, that is job well and truly done. And through my head as well at the same time, I thought, it's not going to get any better than this. And that was the last punch I threw in my career. I did not long after that retire. And I think that's why, because that was such a great event.
Well, an exit, man.
Exactly. I was going to go on then, but let's leave it there.
Yeah, I'm stopping you short because I've heard it, but also people listening can hear it again, because bizarrely, you and George are going on tour. You're doing the Carl Froch, George Groves comeback tour.
We are.
Talking only.
We've got 10 dates. Me and George Groves come together. We're friends now. We talk. He's got kids. I've got kids. So, he's grown up a lot, and we get on. We're never going to be on each other's Christmas cards list, but we're amicable to each other, and we're going to go around and give the fans a little bit of something back, have a good time, and enjoy the relaxed COVID rules now.
Carl, thanks for that. That was brilliant. It was descriptive. 80,000 people, what a thrill. It was a thrill being ringside, and you'll be with us again on Saturday night, 10 p.m. live and exclusive on 5 Live, and we have the fight, Usyk against Joshua, the heavyweight championship of the world. Sweet Caroline, Michael Buffer, 80,000 fans. It does not get any better. Now, yesterday I sat down with Joshua in one of the executive boxes. We were looking down at the ring. He was waving at people as they were setting the ring up, and he was in an ultra relaxed mood. And we started talking, and he wanted to go back in time, back to the 80s, and talk about fighters that are literally lost in time. He was in a great mood.
I was listening to an interview with Errol Christie, and you was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved him, man.
Yeah.
He was a great man, you know.
Yeah, I know. Great experience as well.
He was, you know, he always used to beat the guys that beat me in the schools. So when I'd enter the schoolboy championships or the NABCs, yeah, I'd get beat by a guy.
And then Errol...
And then he'd stop them.
Yeah.
But as I used to say to him, I'll soften them up for you, Errol. True story.
That's a true story in boxing, though. You can actually soften up opponents.
Yeah, but I didn't. Because they smashed me. They bashed me up, and then he bashed them up.
What did you think when you were boxing? Did you find it difficult?
Once I got to 16, it started to hurt, yeah. I had 50-odd fights before I got to 16, and it was easy.
Yeah.
Because you weigh 46 kilos at 12 years of age, and suddenly you get to 15, 16, and you go up to 57 kilos.
Yeah. And then so on and so on.
It just hurts, man. You know? So you see, every time you boxed, it hurt, because you were already big.
Do you know what my problem was? When I was starting out, I was fighting good fighters that was exploiting a lot of my mistakes. So the problem I was finding is that it's not, I knew it wasn't that it was hurting, it was just that the mistakes I was making were giving people options to really hit me hard. If I just kept my hand up or something, it was fine. But the problem is I was jabbing and dropping my hand. They'll just be like,
boom. Do you remember the first time you were hurt like that? And how old were you reckon?
I would say it was probably, so in the Dylan White fight, I was kind of moving off and he hit me with a left hook and I kind of stumbled back. So that wasn't a hurt shot. It had to have been, I think it was when I was sparring Price.
Okay.
When I was sparring David Price.
So this is one early days at the squads?
Yeah, when I was up at the squads.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, I don't even remember the shot.
Yeah, probably right. I'm going to go right hand.
Yeah, the devastating right hand.
What about when you get to the gym? You know, your early doors in the gym. You know, you're a big gangly kid, and you get in with someone who doesn't look like he's that big or dangerous. Next thing you know, you're seeing stars. Literally, I'm thinking more about that.
Every day.
Yeah.
But I truly feel that your head gets stronger.
What a terrible thing to say, but it's true. Of course, it's true. There's no believing. That's a fact. You get used to getting hit.
You get used to it. Like you build a callus. And I've just done some research now, and they say like Dempsey and all these guys, they used to chew like old tarmac type chewing gum and stuff.
Strengthen their jaws.
They say you can't put muscle on your jaw, but I believe that these guys were looking for every advantage.
Well, you do all those neck exercises to strengthen your neck, man.
That comes from like wrestling and Mike Tyson, obviously. Yeah. That's where I got that from.
I'm a big fan of it. Listen, I must just say, AJ, thanks obviously for joining us. It's been a lovely afternoon. Sorry for pulling you away from your dates and your peanut butter stuffed dates. Yeah. The noise we can hear in the background is, of course, they're making the ring. They're making it. Looks good. What's your thought when you're looking at that now, and the builders down there in their yellow and green jackets are putting their fists out? What's your thoughts looking down on that?
So, I came here a few weeks ago when it was empty, and I think that was the most important thing I could have done because now it's quite relaxed because I've visualized this already. Okay. So sometimes the mental visualization is just as important as the physical. So for me, this is just what I've visioned. I've seen it going up before. It's like, cool, let's go out and have a good time.
When you talk about visualising, did you actually walk from where you're going to change along the tunnels and out to the centre of the ring?
Yes, I stood in the tunnel just below us here in
did the whole walk?
Part. Yeah, in my kit. It was obviously for promotion.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But yeah, so it was important to do that, and I said my prayer in the middle. I was in the middle doing some shadow boxing for the promo, but when they gave me a little 2-minute break, I just got on my knees and I just prayed that everything will be fine. But that first day I came here a couple days ago or weeks ago, it sent shivers down my spine. Really? Because it's a phenomenal place. It's a phenomenal venue. I ain't been in a stadium in 3 years.
No. And have you done that before, AJ? Have you walked the track before?
Yeah. But I feel this was special. This was different. This was special. I feel like more experienced now. I never used to take in the moments. It was so quick, Buncey.
How stupid is that, man?
I know. What I always felt like is that I'll take it in when I finish boxing. When I'm a bit older, I'm relaxed now, I'll be able to just take it in then. Yeah, but at the minute it was whatever, let's just keep on going. Yeah. And now I feel like, I don't know, I just get a little bit more experienced. And I'm starting to say, embrace these moments, take them in. Because these are the greatest times of my life. So my coach said it, he goes, mate, I know it's tough, but trust me, these are the best times of your life. Yeah. You're gonna miss these days, so enjoy them.
It's interesting, that concept of missing these days. Generally, people throw questions at you about, would you want to fight Tyson Fury? Do you want to fight Deontay Wilder? I'm not going to throw that question at you. I'm going to say, you talk about missing them. Can you even imagine what it would be like not fighting and being well clear of boxing? I don't mean like 6 months after you stop fighting. I mean in 10 years after you. Can you imagine that?
It's too into it. I don't want to be like Tony Bellew. Like once I'm done, you're never going to see me again. Then I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
But like
he's not in the building, is he, Bellew?
Yeah,
Tony, it wasn't me that said it. It was AJ.
he knows I'm having a laugh. But he gets the banter. So when it's done, I envisage to be like quite at peace because it's a lot of pressure, Bunsey, man. Like people don't realise, boy, the amount of pressure like this stuff comes with. It's not a game. It's not a game at all. Like, look, we're all under pressure in our lives. So no matter what pressure it is, people just know what it's like dealing with pressure. And I just got to deal with this while I'm doing it, unfortunately. But when it's all done, I'll be able to be like, this was fun because it's finished. You've got over it. You've got to the other side. But this is years of commitment. Years of commitment that I've got to put myself in the firing line for.
Does this fight feel different? I mean, does this fight feel as big as it is? Does this fight feel as dangerous as it is to you?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's not the danger factor because the preparation has been strategic and stuff like that. But it feels fun. Maybe it's my approach has changed. I've had to learn. I'm developing. Do you know what it is with me, Bunch? Yeah? Every fight that I have, it's not like, I've ticked that off the box and I can chill now. If you look at my fights from 1 to whatever one I'm on now, I'm trying to get better every fight.
Improving each time.
I'm trying. So for me, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's not danger. It's a blessing. That's what I said. Everything. One of my sparring partners said it. He goes, do everything with a smile on your face. Yeah. It makes it much easier.
You know, some of the sparring partners, if they're regular sparring partners, are they, when they talk to you, are they saying that they sensing you're different? They're sensing you're thinking more. I don't mean you're punching harder. I mean different. You know what I mean.
Once or twice they do say that. Once or twice. Like we sparred yesterday, done something. Someone, why aren't you doing this? Why, they're egging me on. And then sometimes in the gym they're saying, oh, when you was doing this, I can see now you're learning. Because it's about practice. Yeah. Sparring is sparring. Too much pressure. Let's call it practice and go in there and have fun.
But you can't be not fit to. You can't be lied to. You can't be told you're looking good. You can't be told you're looking great, can you? Because you know if you're looking good, or you know if you've had a bad day in the office. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, and the history, video footage. Because of all nowadays, we've got all this stuff like you can punch. You got this sensors in your gloves where you can count them as many punches as you're throwing. So you know you're being busy. Like your balance is getting better. Your hand positioning. When you start countering punches, you know that you're now in a good place. Do you know what I mean? You're not. When you first start sparring, you're getting hit and you can't really kind of get your timing right. But when you pull him back, bang, hitting him back, you can start seeing the progression.
Let's talk about the big lad, Oleksandr Usyk. Showed up today in an absolute rascal of a suit. He looked in absolutely fine form. Seemed as calm as ever. His blue eyes is crystal clear. Looking at you, you're having a good look at him. You shook hands at the end, which is, of course, exactly what I expected. Full of respect. He's a southpaw. You know that. You're southpaw sparring. Have they been trying to box like him? Because just being a southpaw isn't enough. Have they been trying to box like him, giving you those crazy angles that he gives?
So, you've got to shout out to the sparring partners, the most underrated people in the training camp. Do you know what I mean? So there's no one that's going to give you the same type of... There's no one that's going to be similar to me, but it's also about the physical element, the angles. So where we have I sparred like Wadi Camacho, Thomas Carty, Dion Juma, Vartan, Danis, Dempsey.
Fast, small guys.
Shukran.
Yeah,
because he got a bit quick as well.
Yeah, clever, yeah.
Marco from Croatia is going to be in the world soon. Victor from Germany, the list goes on. And what you could do, we obviously have like trainers in the other corner, and they're also obviously telling them, look, use your lead hand to feint and control the distance. Make sure your foot's on the outside. They're giving them little instructions. In boxing though, you've seen it a million times in the corner. Use your jab. Da-da-da-da-da. The geezer comes out to the next round throwing the biggest right hand at you. So
don't listen anyway.
No one ever listens anyway.
Now you signed a deal recently with Eddie Hearn that's going to see you through to the end of your career. And you made a joke here at this packed press conference at this fabulous Tottenham Hotspur Stadium about, I'm not sure when that'll be. It might be 20 years. Now I don't want to take your mind off what's going to be happening in that ring in a couple of days' time. But are you putting a fight limit on yourself, or a year limit on yourself, or no limit on yourself, AJ?
Yeah, I've got to put a bit of a limit. I was watching the Larry Holmes fight today.
Which one?
With Berbick. And he was saying that in the build-up back then, they are much better than the build-ups now.
Do you know what happened? You done it nearly had a rematch, don't you?
Why?
Have you never seen the footage of Larry running on the limousine?
Yeah, and then he
He jumps through the air. He jumps, he flies. 20 stone man, 6'5", flies and lands on Burbick.
He meant business. Burbick, it's mad in boxing because it's like Cleveland Williams, Sonny Liston, Burbick. They're all just known like for the guy that got knocked out by Tyson or the guy that got knocked out by Ali. You know, Burbick's he was a serious fighter in his day. Serious fighter, but I was watching the build-up, and then they said that Larry Holmes was thinking about retiring at 31. I was like, what?
Ouch.
I think 37, 36, 30, 36, because 36 is going on 37. So I think 36 is a good age.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, first is a great age. You get out of all your senses and all your money intact. That's perfect.
I hope so.
Yeah, so do I hope so, son.
I hope so.
Yeah, because I don't really want to do interviews with you if you're fighting at your call. Because we talked to Del Boy the other day and he was reminding us about when you used to have an Oyster card coming to the gym. Sometimes not even an Oyster card.
He didn't give me a lift. I used to see him in Golders Green. Just drive past me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You remind him of that now?
Nah. There is my OG, man. He's the big boss.
He stuck by you back in some really dark days as well.
Yeah, man. He's helped me a lot. He's as I say, the OG is like the older. And he was an inspiration for us all at Finchley. Like, he was that guy. He kind of paved the way. We saw he had won the ABAs and he had turned professional. And we was like, what? He got paid that to turn pro? We were like, nah, bro. I'm on it, like. So like that was like he was like our role model.
Saturday night, AJ, you visualised it. You're going to walk out here. There's going to be 70,000 people holding up their cameras. It's going to be monumental. You're going to enjoy it a little bit more this time. Enjoy that part of it, the walking out, savouring it.
Yeah. Because training's been good. And training will get better. We're learning. As long as we have that approach, it always gets better. So for me, it's not like I didn't just train, like I trained for purpose. I feel that way. I'm just talking to you. I trained for purpose. I had fun. And I feel like I'm getting better as a fighter. I know I'm getting better as a fighter. So why shouldn't I be excited? It's the best times of my life. Let's go out there and have fun. Let's put on a great show. Everyone's gonna be happy on Saturday. Everyone will.
And Usyk today, looking at him, I mean, he doesn't give anything away. He'd be a really good poker player. Could you get a sense? He would.
He would.
Could you get a sense of a feel of anything? Just anything.
Just respect. Like, because I look at the belly press conference was a lot different.
Yeah.
There was a bit of back and forth.
Yeah, of course.
Between them both. Do you know what I mean?
That's belly.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's just there was just a level of mutual respect. Yeah. The first we're here, we're gonna walk out Saturday. The first bell's gonna go, and we're gonna punch each other's heads in. And then after, we're going to touch each other's gloves and be on our way. Yeah. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to ban you from watching Ron Lyle and George Foreman anymore.
That's the first fight I watched.
I know it was, yeah.
Why did you say I was going to ban me from that one?
Because you start getting in your head. You want these mad fights where everyone gets knocked down 4 times.
That's when he turned to become a pastor after that.
Yeah.
He said when he got knocked down, he saw Jesus or something. Yeah. That's mad.
Listen, I know one day you're just loving that. You're just loving those type of fights.
Nah. I was watching the boxing, Larry Holmes. These guys, I always wonder, in sparring you can do rounds upon rounds, and I wonder why is it that they get to the fight and it all goes out the window? They're just like, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to be poised. I want to be relaxed. I want to be precise. I can't wait, and that's what I'm going to do Saturday.
AJ, that's a great way to end it. Thanks as ever for your time and your patience, man. Thank you.
Respect.
That was Anthony Joshua in great form, relaxed, giving us lots. In fact, giving us plenty, to be honest with you. Well, it's 10 p.m. on Saturday night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Joshua against Usyk. It's the biggest fight of the year. It's one of the biggest fights for many years. Will he be as calm tomorrow night in front of 80,000 people? It's quite staggering and stunning when you're standing or sitting at ringside. Joshua will come out. We'll find out. And we'll have a pod for you after. Within about 30 minutes of the fight finishing, we'll have a short pod for you. It's going to be some special night. 10 p.m., 5 Live on Saturday night.
Let's get ready to rumble!
5 Live Boxing.